188 hours so far in PUBG. Thought I'd start a podcast where we talk about the game, what we'd like to see, all that good stuff. Here with my two co-hosts. Go ahead and take it. Whoever wants to take it. John.
All right, I was trying to be the gentleman. Yeah, so two to tango, in-game name, but you can call me John. I've just hit over 150 hours in the game. So altogether, we have probably close to 500 hours in the game. We have, or at least we like to think we have some good ideas about the game that we could talk about. But I'll go ahead and pass over to the other co-host now.
Hello, I'm a Grizzly Man, got 214 hours.
Short and sweet, man.
That's the way to keep it.
Okay, so first topic we're going to discuss for today. Let me go ahead and start this video so there's something playing there. First topic, future updates, what we would like to see in the game coming up as the game progresses. First thing I want to talk about is this little neat idea of having in the in-game lobby having your in-game name show up underneath you with the party leader, and you can look at the stream if you can't see it on my screen. There, John. And
yeah, so pretty simple topic just to start off with, so I appreciate that. We'll get in, of course, to the bigger, meatier stuff later on, but a super simple, I would think, easy change. I say simple, but I don't know how easy it is for Bluehole to implement things with the vaulting mechanic and all of that, but just a very easy and simple update that would make just the overall quality of life in the game a little bit better. I don't know what you guys think about it.
Go ahead, Austin.
What was this he was talking about?
It's the picture right in Discord. I'll post it. You see the names underneath them?
Yeah.
And then party leader, so you know who's leader. And maybe even, I was thinking they could even add like a ready check mark beside it, like something super simple. That way we know who's not ready, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you can see already
you can.
who's ready, who's not ready, just by hovering over the friends list thing. It says team ready on whoever's ready to.
Oh. We could still add it like with your name. I think that'd be easier.
Yeah, it would be just something simple to show you who's who.
Yeah. I definitely think it's a just a little breath that would be good for the game to be able to breathe a little bit better, you know?
Yeah.
Totally agree. Back to a quality of life thing that just makes it a little simpler, a little more enjoyable just from the start.
Definitely.
Easy to add.
All right. Anything else we want to say about this topic before I move ahead?
Well, one other thing just that makes that a pro, and which I couldn't imagine anybody would have any cons on that, but just for example of why it's needed in some ways is all the time I'm wanting to see what my boys are wearing. What's my crew wearing now? I want to keep up to date with their clothing lines. I can't tell who's who.
Yep,
That's true.
Agree.
That's true. Modern fashion is impeccable.
I agree.
It's got to be important. So, totally agree.
All right, 100% agree. And thank you to, I just noticed this name here, the guy that posted this image, Riven Worm. I'm just going to go ahead and give him credit so he doesn't sue me or anything like that. Okay, next topic. We are going to, next topic. When it rains, have players leave muddy footprints inside buildings. I'll go ahead and provide you with links, and you guys can let me know your thoughts. Let me go ahead and give you this picture just to give you a little visual. I don't know if that'll bring you right to it. I'll go ahead and pull this over. I just pulled it up on Google Images. John?
Another quality of life type thing, actually in-game though, that I think would be a simple implementation that would help tremendously overall. Even if it's something that's only temporary, like the mud or water would dry over time, the footprints may go away. We all hate the camper that's just in the bathroom upstairs with the door shut. But if you could see footprints leading into the building, and again, if maybe it was on the time delay of like 5 minutes or something, then they go away, or 2 minutes, they go away, you would know that there's more than likely somebody there. And an awesome update, I think, that would be a super small thing that would really make a big difference.
Definitely awesome.
It would be neat think I would be that crazy about it. TBH. Just because I kind of like the aspect of somebody could potentially be anywhere at any given moment and you would have no idea. I think that that makes another risk. Say, you pull into a compound, and I know that it wouldn't always be that way. There'd be footprints and stuff, but you pull into a compound and you're just running into the building, and the fact that somebody could be there and a lot of the times is in there just camping and waiting, I just think that adds a nice aspect to the game.
Yeah,
just something to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Both sides, pretty good argument. But I mean, they could still implement it. Maybe not a 2-minute timer because that's that's a little long. But like maybe like a 20-second, something like that would make it more viable. Probably like if a guy just shows up right after a guy goes into a house. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you would really have to be camping there to be camping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a good while.
20 seconds would be a bit insignificant.
40,
I think.
Something like that.
Something like a minute would probably be as low as I would want to see it go.
Yeah.
But more to your point, Austin, I totally get like the air of uncertainty or the unpredictability of the game. That's what makes it challenging and fun in certain ways. But on the flip side of that, the entire purpose of the game is taking information visually, audibly, whatever it may be, to help you survive and to win. So if there's no audio cue, you don't hear anybody moving just because they're sitting in a corner, just to know for certain that there's somebody there, that there's somebody has been there, I think that would be just a good thing. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a permanent footprint, even if it's just temporary. The information of the game is what really is most important.
Right. I would like it. I mean, I don't think I'd mind it that much if it was just temporary. Just say if you was trailing somebody or something, then I think that would be pretty neat on that side of it.
If you're trailing them, though, you would already know that they were there, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it would be okay if it was temporary. I think.
No, I mean, I'm not. Like crazy over it. I mean, it would be kind of cool, but then again, I think if vaulting were added, this would be great. But since you kind of have to go back and follow your tracks that you just left, there could be somebody also camping you waiting, too, because they know you're in there. So it could go both ways. But yeah, both arguments are pretty good. The uncertainty of the game and the being able to like know that somebody's in there with that information. But with vaulting, it would just be like it would still be uncertain if they're in there or not at that time.
True.
With the current state of the game.
My point though, with information being key, if say my example, there's somebody in a corner upstairs in the bathroom, and you're close enough to see the muddy footprints in the building, they are going to know that you're there as well, though, because you're making noise, you're moving around. That's impossible to miss if you're playing like any civilized human being these days with a headset. They hear you, so they take that information as well.
I agree. This is a one-sided victory.
Aspect. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, next topic. Let's see. What do we have? We have... If there is the desert map, which there is going to be, that's already confirmed, if the blue zone could be a sandstorm, like completely blind, just a sandstorm, like an actual sandstorm. There's the imagery link. Let me make sure you guys can see it on OBS.
Yes, which would be awesome. Don't try to argue with it, John.
I have nothing negative to say about this whatsoever. I think that would be totally fitting and just awesome. That would be so cool.
Definitely. I mean, I don't think we have any negatives to this. Like, it should be total blind, just like a sandstorm. That way, you have to run in the circle or you die, just like a sandstorm.
Absolutely.
It'd speed up the gameplay. It would make it more more fast paced in the sense of you can just spend as much time looting because you're always having to be on the lookout of where the circle's going to be, because if you get caught outside of it, even in the beginning game, where right now in the beginning game you can hang out outside of it all day long,
Definitely.
but you're screwed for the rest of the game potentially.
And then
Caught outside of it.
When you're in the blue, you can still see around. I think that would really, like, as soon as players get in, there could be a guy right next to them, just pop out of it, and then there's just, there they are, and they have to take care of each other. I think it would be a neat, even if it was full blind, it would be awesome.
Definitely. I mean, I think full blind sounds good, but at the same time, that may be a little bit.
Probably not full blind, because you would have to see in front of you just a little bit, if there's like this big ocean here or lake, whatever they put there, like
but
a little water hole.
I don't think you would need to be able to see into the circle for just situations like you was talking about if you did get caught outside of it and you come popping in, you have no idea what you're walking into.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And then also the people that's already in the circle, or they have no idea you're coming.
It's basically a big theater curtain.
Right. And where right now, as we play like that too, and most people play like that, when you're around the edges, you're constantly watching the backside, so you're always aware if anybody's coming up behind you, and you're not really that scared because you've been watching your backs, watching the circle for anybody to be coming. But if it was like that, you would have no idea.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else anybody want to add?
There's not. Sir, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I believe that this is one of those straightforward things that is pretty easily agreed upon. It would just be a very refreshing update, a very challenging update that would make it more rewarding to play the game like it's designed to be played. Get stuff, get in the zone, and fight, not just meander outside. Totally agree. It would be an awesome update.
And also, just this is a little bit more general, but I know we're going to discuss this a little bit more another time or later tonight. But if they want people to keep playing the game or keep convincing friends that those weird guys who don't have the game yet to get it, then they're going to have to keep adding different aspects, different things than what it is now, and that game-changing things like that.
Definitely.
Why do they got to be weird guys? Come on, man.
They ain't weird. I mean, there's a lot that don't have it.
We're all weird guys here.
At this point, if you're not playing PUBG, I don't know what's wrong with you.
I agree. As broken as it can be at some times, it's clearly the funnest game to play right now.
Definitely.
And if you get on the internet, I don't know how anybody could avoid all the hype and just every big streamer, YouTuber out there, even PewDiePie, who's not even really a gamer anymore, is playing it a lot.
There are always going to be those people that have to contradict social norm.
Yeah.
I used to try to fight against things. I thought it was like a rebel hipster, man. You had that face too, I'm sure. Have you seen Making a Murderer?
Yes.
Jalen?
No.
See, now Jalen's the weirdo. Come on, dude. That's the best show ever. Watch it.
Dude.
Jalen doesn't watch anything.
No, I don't watch any movies, anything.
Except Twitch.
I literally watch Twitch and YouTube.
Lynx is the weirdo.
That's it. All right, let's move on. So, next one is a brilliant idea in my brain. The giving holsters should be implemented and given real stats. So the one we now wear, everybody wears, the high capacity holster. It could give you plus 20 carry capacity. That's minimal, but it's still something. Quick draw holster, 15% faster weapon switch. A belt holster, 5% faster movement speed while holding a weapon. I think this could really add different play styles. It could add, breath of fresh air for the game. Just a little change like this.
I think that's a little much, honestly.
Really?
I haven't heard anything about this prior to just now, but my first thoughts is I think that's a little bit too complex for what PUBG is. In a sense, I kind of find it refreshing, the simplicity of pubs, in the sense of you go into a game, everybody's equal from the start. right? And you just find guns. I like that being the only variable, guns and armor. You know what I mean? Starting to get into percentages of gear, gear having stat percentages such as carry capacity and weapon switch. I don't know. I just think that
Here you go. Let me give you.
it's just a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't hate it, but just my first thoughts is that just seems a little bit much for a game like PUB.
Right. I totally see your point, and I disagree just a tad bit. Looking at the options that are available, the only one that I would want to go with would be the quick draw holster, though. High capacity would just sort of not be worth it as soon as you find a backpack. Anything better than a level 1. The other 5% faster movement speed, that's pretty insignificant. I mean, I would rather just full boost and move faster that way. But to be able to switch between weapons a little quicker, that is totally something that I would go for. I don't think that, at least from those 3 options, it would necessarily warrant different play styles. Really, I think that everybody would find that faster weapon switches would be the best.
Yeah, everybody would go to that one. They would swarm it, yeah.
Totally. If they implemented different types or different categories, if the Blue Hole team takes it and runs with it, then it may end up being something a little more fleshed out, with some options that may actually warrant different play styles. But just from those options there, like, there's only one that I would actually choose.
Well, what about this? What if this is not a cosmetic BP item you can buy? What if you could only pick up these 3 things in game with guns, with these stats? Like, it's not like you automatically have these things.
Well, if you're just picking it up, if it's just RNG spawn in the game, I really wouldn't mind at all. I mean, I don't think it would be that significant to really impact the game at all. It's really kind of a small thing, and so I mean, if it was just you find it in the game randomly like anything else, then I wouldn't have any problem with it. But also, I mean, I wouldn't be extremely hyped about it, like, oh, I need to, just how I am like with the M16. I think I was like, all right, guys, I really need a high capacity holster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, that one is insignificant. I really need that level 2 backpack or that level 3 backpack. Then you don't care about the high capacity holster anymore. But then something like the quick draw, which would significantly affect like firefights that you may actually find yourself in, switching between primary, secondary, whatever, a little quicker, that one totally would be up my alley. And like I said, everybody would want that one, I think.
Definitely.
Right. Yeah, 5% faster movement speed wouldn't really make much of a difference either, especially when you already have the speed boost with the energy drinks, which is everybody pretty much uses in the end game when speed is a major factor with the circles there.
All right. Well, if anybody has anything else to say, now's your time. We got a lot of stuff to cover. I mean, would it be a yes or a no if it was all random on the map? Like, just a yes or no? Like, or you wouldn't mind it?
I'm really in the middle. I really don't think. I mean, if it was spawning in the game, I really don't care. I have no really strong opinion on it.
Or if take away these top and bottom 2, quick draw. Just that. If they just added that, you could pick up.
I still don't have a very strong opinion on it. I wouldn't care what way you, John. You
I'm
care either way.
I would be interested. Yes, totally.
All right, Blue Ho, get on it. John he wants it now.
Yeah,
all right.
Get on it.
All right, next topic. All right. Next we have a D. Oh man, this is right up John's alley. Last night he had a lot to say. I think I can't even say it. Defibrillator. Do you have to say it?
A defibrillator.
This word. All right, listen. All right, that word. Shout out to this streaker guy for hosting that. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts? So let me go ahead and explain what it is. Only used in duo and squad, obviously. When somebody is dead on your team, you see the skull from where they died at. Let me go to move this up. If you get there in time and have the that word. Can't say it too long for my body. Revive your teammate that is dead. That's a revive item. This item would have a time limit from the point they are downed and out to you getting there, trying to revive them from the dead. This item would be really, really rare, maybe even a crate drop, and anyone on your team that is dead has a usual skull over their head. But if you have that word again, you can see a circle on the skull for the time that you are in order to revive that teammate. Anyway, yada, yada, there you go.
All right, well, I'm just going to go ahead, and I know we talked about this a little bit one other time. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out there. I personally, the only time I think that would be okay, that item in the game, is, first of all, only time to get it is crates. Only place to get it.
Definitely.
Low chances on that spawning even in a crate. And if you do get it, it has one use, and then it, deteriorates or just it disappears out of your inventory.
I'm totally okay with that.
If it was like that, I think that would be actually pretty cool, as long as it was very rare.
Totally agree. I feel like it would remove some of the predictability of like squad games or duo games, where if you down a member of the enemy team, you take that extra time to actually go through and kill them. That if you are like, okay, well, we'll just leave that team, they're only down to one, that other guy's going to die outside of the play zone, whatever it may be. If they have that, albeit as rare as it might be, the chances of them having it towards an in-game situation may be pretty high. Then you're facing a team of two, not just a single person. I totally feel like it would be an awesome update or addition to the game that, again, would just remove a lot of the predictability.
Right. And that would be really cool. And also, maybe, sometimes another thing I just thought about that could cause issues. A lot of times there are certain teams in a game that they just play crates and they're good at it, and they go and get several crates throughout a game. And I think it would be an issue if one team was able to get multiple of those. So maybe if they even had to where they had the RNG set up to where only one defibrillator would spawn per game, in crates.
Yeah, that I was going to say that it would be so rare that you wouldn't even realize it's in the game.
Right.
Maybe get the chance to have it. But you have to think about this. What if their teammate's already dead and they're in duos and they get it? They can't, their teammate's been dead for 6 minutes now.
Well, in that kind of situation, they're probably way outside the circle or way too far away to where it wouldn't be useful. And if that person gets killed, then maybe you could loot it, off of them like anything else if it hasn't been used.
No.
Because it wouldn't affect the game at all if nobody ever even got it. Say if somebody just found it and their teammate was long gone, so they just decided to throw it down out in the middle of the woods somewhere, then that would be perfectly fine too. Nobody would notice.
Well, I see one comment here. And this person says it's overpowered and breaks up predictability. But you're saying it would be better to break up that predictability, right, John?
In certain situations, totally, yes. Especially if it's limited in the game. While we do play the game totally based on predictability, the actions that we take, again, it all is based on information. If you're facing a team of two and you down one, but you have two members of your team, you're far more likely to push. It's a 2-on-1 situation. The likelihood of you winning that particular battle are going to go up exponentially because there's just more of you than there are of them. So situations like that, sure, it is, again, a predictable game that we play, and it's the information that we use to form decisions. But just to remove some sort of that predictability, I think would totally be refreshing in a squad or duo situation.
All right. Any last words for both?
Yes. One last thing, just going referencing that guy's comment, and you may have already picked that out, John, but breaking up the predictability in some situations I think would be good. Like I said, in such a rare circumstance where the predictability would be broken with just one defibrillator in a game that had one use, I don't think that's going to make any type of major ripples. You know,
yeah.
I think that would just be just enough of the break of predictability that it would be a little bit exciting.
Right. Just the right amount.
Right. Exactly. And that's all I have to say on that.
All right, John. Any last word? Anything? You ready to move on?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it.
All right. Yeah. Let's move on then. Next one, kind of short and sweet. Just a little. I think it's sort of a breath of fresh air for the game. Just gives it a little bit of ease of life. And the Bracker, thank you for submitting this suggestion on the subreddit. Items being added into vehicles that you come upon, such as you find a mag of 5.56 bullets in a Dacia. You find a pistol in a Dacia with one mag. Just probably not that extreme. Just maybe a mag of 5.56, a mag of 45. Just around that. What do you think? But let me add to that one more thing. You could also just find maybe a gas mask. Something useless as of right now.
Sure. So the RNG in the car is the same as the RNG pretty much everywhere.
Yep.
All right, Austin, I know you spoke strongly about this last time we talked about that, so why don't you go ahead and take it away?
No, I'll finish it off. You all go ahead. I want to go last on this one.
Okay. I personally don't really like the idea, just because there are either a couple of situations that, at least in our play style, we really ever use cars. Not so much the first one where you land, you get a car, and you drive far away to an area that hasn't been looted or that people couldn't really get to, away from the path of the plane, or you land in an area, you're already looted, you clear out everybody in the area, and then you need a car to get to zone. In Opportunity A, you already have a distinct advantage over somebody who may have had the same idea as you, that you have a gun possibly before they do. I don't necessarily like that. Or in Option B, you're already looted. You don't really need it. I don't necessarily like the idea.
All right. Well, my thought on it is, I don't think it's game changing in any form or fashion. I just think it's kind of silly, though. That's my main thought on it. I just think it's
kind of silly. It's good enough.
It's kind of silly. Like, it's one of those things, I think, that it would only be used. I don't really know where I was going with that, but pretty much I just think it's silly and a little bit unnecessary. But if it was in the game, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, who wants to use this AK without a compensator? That's kind of silly. I don't want that information. I don't want that gun. It's kind of silly, man.
Well, I'm not strongly for it. I'm not strongly against it. It would just be just like a house. You have in the car, you can pull down out of the dash, maybe like have just, see just some bullets sitting there, It's not really a big game changing, meta changing change or anything like that, like it's just something that they could do if they wanted to.
Right. I wouldn't be upset in the slightest if they did add it.
Yeah.
But...
Sure. No, I wouldn't be upset necessarily if they did add it, but it's kind of silly.
Yeah.
There you go. See, John gets it. Silly.
It's my new excuse for everything. I don't want to do that, man. It's kind of silly.
The next topic, I don't think is actually. I really want this in the game. Like everybody start off with it. I don't know about everybody started off with it, but I'm just going to go ahead and pull this up here. Binoculars in the game. Probably pick it up in the house. What are you guys' thoughts?
Okay, now this time I insist. You had thoughts on this last time we talked. Go.
Who?
Austin.
Oh, me? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, just first of all, awesome, and get started on it right now. I think I just I have some kind of idea. I have some ideas about the way it could be used in the game, other than just standard long range. That may be silly. I don't know. I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it, but something that I think would be kind of neat, which is stealing this from Battlefield, was if you see somebody really far off in the binocular, maybe it marks them just for a brief, like 15 seconds, just long enough for you to get your gun out and locate them with your gun. Say if you had a car and a 15 or a 8x.
See, now that's kind of silly.
Well,
What information can you glean from binoculars that you don't already have if you have a car with an 8x?
Right.
Right?
That completely true. Like if I think binoculars would be cool, but you're right that it doesn't give you anything extra unless they add some kind of something specific that the binoculars can do. Maybe not what I said exactly, but it would need to have something to give it that extra push to make you want it over than just using your scope on your gun.
I got something to back you up on this. Like if it had something to do. Okay, what if you could pull up your binoculars? They have like a marker, just like a 4x, right in the middle that you're looking at. Just have like maybe a one scoped one, not two, to where it's like split or whatever.
And shoot a laser beam.
You can freaking click. You can click, like you can right click or left click, either one, and it marks it on your mini map or on your map, on your map, and your team can press M. Like I see guys over here, you click where they're at with your binoculars, and they can press M and show, and then they can look that direction.
All right, sorry, that's okay. Yes, I think that would be okay. But something I think would be even better that I just thought of in regards to binoculars, just a little something that wouldn't be game changing, such as a marker, but would give the binoculars that little push to make them desirable, would be if you're trying to do long range sniping, when you're aimed on somebody, it tells you the distance they're at, so you can implement the zeroing in factor that a lot of people hate to use, and it can be very accurate if you have.
Okay. So not so much binoculars as like a rangefinder.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Which is an actual tool that marksmen use.
Rangefinder like art, yeah.
Now, I would be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. Sometimes it's really difficult to judge the distances. Is that 300 meters or 400 meters? A lot of times you don't have time to pull up your map and count. Like the squares on the map actually represent a certain number of meters or kilometers. You don't have time for that.
Well,
a lot of time.
Let me cut you off like real quick. Regarding counting the markers, they're actually inaccurate right now in the game. The markers actually don't represent where the current meters are in the game. In the 4X and 8X, they're messed up right now. That is confirmed.
Wow.
Even better.
Yep, it is confirmed.
So then now it would even give you more certainty that you're going to be accurate in your not estimation but calculation of the range. I would totally be okay with that, but just binoculars, no. I mean, it's super easy to loot or to find a 4X or an 8X. If you're lucky enough, if you play crates, even a 15X. So those don't serve any new purpose beyond what a scope on your gun would already serve. But a rangefinder, totally.
Yeah, rangefinder.
So we'll
definitely.
go ahead and stamp the binoculars with the silly stamp.
Yep.
And give a thumbs up to a rangefinder.
Yep.
I agree.
Rangefinder. All right.
Hey, I'm jumping in. This is Architect. Hey.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we move on to anything, let me give a quick introduction. Go ahead, Architect. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, this is Architect. I was silently listening there to the conversation, and I agree for the most part with everything you guys just said. I do think rangefinder is better than binoculars. One thing, and you may have touched on this before I actually joined the Discord, but one thing I think that would bring value to a rangefinder and make it more desirable would be, let's say, I do like being able to I think it was Lynx's idea of clicking on something and it sets a marker on the map. I think that's really cool. I think what else would add value is if you could mark a player, an enemy player, and it would give you like a temporary mark on the mini map for like maybe 7 to 10 seconds, and then it goes away, and it has like a cooldown on it, so you couldn't just spam it, you know.
See, my only argument with that is the realistic aspect of PUBG. And if you have a map, a topological map that shows geographic formations, that show building locations,
Sure.
those are things that aren't going to move. So to
Right.
place a map on a compound, or to place a marker on a compound on a map is fine, but
Sure.
players move. And
Exactly. And to
that
play
is-
devil's advocate to my own suggestion, you know, this is a military simulator that we're playing in essence, and you're not going to get name tags of players in
Battlefield.
real life. You know, right? This is not Battlefield, but I'm thinking in the aspect of making something more desirable. To me,
Yeah.
that's the only way it could really do it, other than just simply range finding.
Sure, no, I totally agree. I'm just
Yeah.
speaking more to the
Oh,
realistic
absolutely. And
side
I
of
agree.
things.
I agree.
That
I don't think there's
that
much
the-
you can do.
to place a marker on a location, totally fine with. On a geographic landmark, totally okay with. But a player that is
Yeah.
moving and is not going to remain stationary in the same spot for that amount of time, which they may if they're just like a bush Wookiee or something. But that's not the way people play.
Right.
And I think that would be totally unfair.
All right. Moving on.
What about-
All right.
Before
What
we
do
move
you
on,
guys say?
apologies. Just to sort of finish on this,
Okay.
would we prefer to see this as a lootable item in the world, like the mini as it was introduced as a lootable item, or something that you could only get out of a crate?
I think, my opinion, I think if it's just a rangefinder,
It should be on your character.
you could either buy it with BP. No, you'd have to loot it out of a house, yeah. But if it had the marking
I agree.
ability, it would have to be a drop, I believe, or be extremely rare in the map.
To me, if it was just simply to detect range, I would make it on a player's character from the beginning. You know, if you're spawning in early game, you got a shotgun, you don't have nothing, but your teammate has a AR or something, and you're like, hey, I
Right.
see a guy 350 meters out, let's push him or whatever, you know. Or if your teammate has a sniper and you don't, you know, if it's just simply to find range, I think it should be on your character from the beginning. And I like Lynx's idea, buy it with BP and then you have it.
Yeah,
I agree. Make it accessible to everyone
Sure.
equally.
that'd make it fair.
Mm-hmm.
But-
Totally.
If,
but
if
then
it
you're
just finds range.
You're starting to dip your toes into pay to win there though, buying it with BP.
Well, I mean, if you play the game, it's you don't use money to buy BP.
Yeah, if you
Right, but still, it gives, you know, right now the game is, no matter if you've never played the game, you know, skill aside, if you've never played the game or if you've been playing for since it came out, you still have the same opportunities.
okay. Let me throw this curveball at you. What if everybody starts with as soon as they buy the game? No BP. You can't sell it.
It's just part of your character. Yeah.
All right, I agree. That's fair.
Yep.
But then another problem with that is you spawn with nothing except your clothes. But then it'd be kind of weird. Sorry, I have to be that guy that argues with everything.
No,
And,
devil's advocate. Do it, man.
I'm that guy of this
You gotta have one.
podcast.
You gotta have
It
one.
makes for a very, very much a better conversation. So please.
By all means, shoot holes in it.
But I completely lost what I was saying. Now
It's silly.
It's train of thought was good.
okay. All right. Yeah. So if you spawn in the game, you don't have anything but just your clothes. Sometimes people spawn naked, but then you just have this rangefinder for some reason. Of all things that you could possibly have on you, you have a rangefinder, and that's the only thing you have.
Okay, make it
Kind
so
of
that
silly.
you have to have a utility belt equipped to have a rangefinder.
Or you have to have a
That's
weapon,
stock from the game. Yeah, sure.
a weapon equipped of
To
some
use it.
sort to be able to use it. Like you can only use it while you ADS with a weapon or something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, there's a simple solution. Yeah,
Totally.
or make it as an AR or sniper rifle attachment, but it's stocked with you. It comes with you.
All right.
Now that would be interesting.
All right. To each their own. All right. Moving on. Moving on. All right, that's all for future updates that we have right now. Binoculars kind of rounded that up. Next topic: current issues or dislikes that you have with the game. After all the hours we put in thus far, John.
Just a thought before we move forward. Do we want to just sort of recap everything that we've talked about to see if there's anything else that Justin would want to add?
I mean, we can if you want. I mean, you see the links here, Ark. I've kind of X'd them all off as I went through them, but the first thing is the first link there, the party names and leader designate. Let me go ahead and run through them, and then you can talk about what you want to talk about. In-game, in-lobby, party names, leader designation tabs or tags. When it's raining, leave muddy footprints inside buildings. Let me look at. Oh, that was just a picture. In the new desert map, have the blue zone, basically just like a sandstorm coming in, and it's basically a curtain that you can only see. You can only see the side that you're on, basically. And when you come out, they don't know. You don't know if there's what's going to be on the other side, like a curtain.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Next, we have holsters, and you can click that link there, and it'll show you the different things. We kind of discussed it a little bit. Adding items and vehicles such as like a mag of 5.56, yada yada. And we just talked about what we just finished. Yep, that's it.
I'm a fan of all these things. The curtain idea, the sandstorm idea, to me is just that's so out of the box different.
Totally.
The only thing I can think that kind of mimics that would be player zone in GTA 5. There's no out of bounds. There's just you swim so far, then a shark hits you.
Right.
That's completely unique to me, and this right here just completely mimics that. Maybe have like 5 feet of visibility, and that's all you get inside the spot.
That's what I was thinking.
And you don't necessarily take damage. Maybe you could take. I guess you have to take damage. You know.
Yeah.
But you just lose all visibility. Which I think we kind of have that now. When you're outside the blue zone, your scope is distorted a little bit. Speaking on the first one, party names, leader description, I think that's good. Kind of like, are you thinking like banners, like on Battlefield or Call of Duty?
No, just a quality of life, knowing who's wearing what, who's the party leader. Maybe have a check mark that says who's ready or not, just something like that.
I think that's great. The holster idea is probably my favorite one.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
How?
Light it up. It's about to be lit in here, boys.
Well, okay.
No, I'm not willing to argue with that. That's fine, but I just find it interesting that was what you find to be the most exciting.
We've already discussed it.
I'm pretty bored about it.
Well, I think the sandstorm, if I may retract, is the best one. This would be a second. I like the idea of having different aspects on your holster to kind of go with play style.
Right. Here was my argument to that, if you don't mind me just stepping in for a quick second. Sure. Just the ones that are shown in that picture there, the extra capacity is not going to be something you're worried about as soon as you find a backpack level 2 or higher.
Right.
5% movement speed is so minimal that a boost from double boosting, like pain and energy, is going to be something minimalized that you're not even going to worry about that.
Right.
The weapon switch is the one that I personally would go to 100% of the time. Right. And if I think that way, I think a lot of other players would, which would basically negate the fact of even having the other two options.
Well, did you guys happen to branch out on any other ideas as far as like what different types of holsters you could do?
This was my kind of resolution to it all, would make it just that, like, not that you could pick. Like, don't make these BP buy items, right? Make these items that you find in the area. Maybe just the quick draw holster, because the other two are kind of irrelevant. I think that was my argument. I can't even remember. It's already been passed. We've talked about so much stuff. But make it like where you could pick it up.
Right.
It would be looted in game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's my kind of take on this. The only way the first one, the high capacity holster, makes sense is if you nerf the level 2 and 3 packs.
Which I would be enraged about.
Or put, instead of that, put a ammo carry limit on how many rounds you can carry at a time. So maybe like 150 of 5.56 or whatever you want to call it, however you want to do that. You can only carry 50 rounds of any kind of pistol ammo or something. To me,
that's reasonable.
That's the only way I could think to make that even kind of desirable. The quick draw, I think, is fantastic. The
Mhm.
5% faster movement speed, I think if you bump that to 10 and take away movement speed from stems, that would make that more desirable.
Mm.
Because think about it, if I take an ibuprofen, I'm not going to run 5% faster.
Or even make it stag.
Sure, yeah.
Or just even raising it 3% to 8% would be. I mean, that's a lot in a game. People don't
Yeah.
think
That
that's a
is
lot, but
considerable.
that's all right.
Well, I think it would be more desirable if you didn't stack it, but if you remove the stem effects and make this a 10% movement speed, and it's only found in game, that's huge. I think that would be, to me, balanced.
Hmm.
And I don't know of any kind of other holsters you could do.
Yeah.
That would make it any. Those three, I think you could fix
Yeah.
the first one and the last one, and leave the middle one where it's at. It would be good.
Yeah. All right.
Totally.
Any other of
Just-
the past topics, or
yes.
you want to continue?
Absolutely, you forgot the biggest one. In squads or duos games,
Oh yeah.
there, if this is something you would be interested in, is a defibrillator that's implemented into the game, in which you can use to revive teammates that have died, not just been down, but that have died.
Sure.
It, from what we discussed, would only be available in drops. It would be a limited, like, one-time option. Once you
Yep.
use it, it's
One
like
use
a
per player.
consumable, like
Right.
a first aid kit. You use it and it's gone. Thoughts?
Okay. I think it would have to be found in game
Totally.
and one use per player, so it makes it really valuable. Because there's several times, and we've done it, especially last night's game, 4-on-2 or whatever, when one player's dead and the circle's at the smallest. If you have cover, you could get that guy up and give yourself an advantage. But it would have to have a very rare loot drop rate, in my opinion.
Mm.
I think it would be great. And to throw this curveball, I know it's implemented in Call of Duty, but what do y'all think about Last Stand, where if you're down, you only have a pistol, and maybe limit it to you only have 10 shots with that pistol, and then you're out. Because you think about movies or whatever, if you're shot and you're down, you still have the ability to shoot sometimes, depending on the injury or whatever.
Sure.
But maybe if you didn't have an AED or a defibrillator, you have a Last Stand perk. Or just when you're down, you can use 10 shots with a pistol, then you're done.
That's definitely interesting. Just the way the game is set up now, if you can crawl, it's your first time being down, and you can crawl 300 feet and
You should be able to
survive,
shoot. Right.
you should be able to shoot a magazine
Right.
out of a pistol.
I'm
Totally
sure
under-
if
yeah.
you play Call of Duty and you've been killed by someone in Last Stand, it's infuriating. But it's practical because, like you said, if you can crawl 300 feet, you should be able to shoot a pistol.
Yeah.
So
That would
I'm
add.
down.
I'm not sure if you. I don't remember if you mentioned this already or not, but that would definitely give a lot more reason to pick up a pistol and use the pistols in the game. Because I know me personally, if I can find anything other than a pistol before I do a pistol, I never
Right.
pick up a pistol.
And you only get Last Stand if you have the pistol equipped or have it on you. And I think it would change the game dynamic too, because especially early game, people use down players as bait.
Right.
So if you don't have, if you're in a squad game and you get down versus players coming over and just teabagging you or whatever, and waiting for your teammates to come, and there's a
Yeah,
trap.
if you shoot them in the sack a few times,
Right, you nip them in
they're
the
gonna
butt a
think
few
twice
times.
next time.
Exactly right. Which in retrospect puts more emphasis on having a defibrillator. If they go ahead and kill that teammate, and you have found one, then you can get that person back up. And
Right.
it makes the game more about, well, he's dead, let's move on. No, let's take these guys out and get our teammate back up.
That was my argument in favor of the defibrillator, just that it would remove so much of the predictability. Like, the way
Well,
that we play the game is that if
right.
you down a member of a team, say we're playing in duos, and you actually take the time to kill them, we would be far more likely to push that one person that's remaining,
Exactly,
because
right.
it's 2v1. The odds of us winning that go up exponentially.
Right, and
But if they had the
puts more-
defibrillator
Mhm.
and could totally change that, then you may think twice.
right, and it puts more value on a squad-based game.
Oh,
to
yes.
have a defibrillator. Right. I'm all for it. I think it's great. I think it can be balanced. I think it can be implemented easily and just increase the drop rate. Maybe put it the same drop rate as an 8X.
That's where I say no way, man. As far as a defibrillator, I think it should be a one per game, like limit one per game, and it's in a crate, some random crate throughout the game.
Well, that might be a good way to introduce it, but I think definitely once per player or once per team.
Right. Well, that's a definite. If you could get multiple uses in a team, that would be way overpowered.
Yeah. To digress, I think definitely once per team.
I think once if you have used it and say you come upon another team, you kill them all, you're looting them. It would have, if you've already used it somehow, if they could. I know Blue Hole has a tough time again in coding. If they could make it to where it actually says cannot pick up or something, just have it lined out and the rest you can pick up.
Yeah. If you're in a squad game, sure. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move on. I think it's great.
All right. Moving on. Next, that's it for future updates, stuff we'd like to see. We're moving on to current issues with the games or dislikes that we have with the current game as it is right now. Today is October the 1st, 2017. John?
As far as current dislikes, there aren't any major dislikes apart from server lag. That's a big one, which there's a huge difference between server lag and client lag. Like if you have bad ping and you lag, that's your fault. But the majority of what is experienced in game is server lag on the side of PUBG and Blue Hole. That is the number one thing I would love to see fixed immediately.
Okay. Awesome.
That's definitely the biggest problem, and I imagine everybody's problem is just optimization. I mean, it was especially. I see why they're wanting new content. Here we are, even talking about all the stuff we really want in the game and would love to see in the game. I understand that they're putting a lot of time into trying to keep people entertained with new content, but optimization should be probably a little bit higher in their priorities, which I'm beginning to understand that must be a little bit more difficult than most people perceive it as, because it seems like all companies have except for the big blockbuster companies, have a really hard time getting games optimized properly.
Let me go ahead and interrupt real quick. This also covers our third. I'll just go ahead and we'll get it covered all in one. This covers our third topic. It was in-game optimization, the server lag, and all that stuff. So we'll just go ahead and get that out of the water. This is one of the current dislikes. We can go ahead and talk about more dislikes after this, but that's also a topic. Art?
So I definitely think optimization should be key right now. The other day when the servers went down for maintenance, John and I hopped into the test server, and it was a thing of beauty. Now, here's my thing, and this is something I've been thinking about after we played that game. When we jumped into that server, there was 50 people in the server, and then the game started, and it was, doors were opening before you even pressed F to open a door. It was beautiful,
smooth as butter, baby.
Smooth as butter. So my thoughts would be, if game optimization isn't on their high priority list and they're only focused on new content, which is great, don't get me wrong, I love new content, I would like to see them, if it would help server lag, put games to 50 players max for the time being. I think that would decrease the loads on the server until they can plug them into something other than a potato and get it fixed. I think maybe a 50-player server would be, and John, I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but I thought that 50-player server was a blast.
100%.
It was so much fun to play in a 50-player server. And you might think, an 8 kilometer by 8 kilometer map is too big, but it felt smooth. It felt great. You still run into the players here and there. Maybe if you did 50-player servers, you decrease the circle time in between zones. But I think for now, the biggest, if they're not focusing on optimization, lower the map, playability to 50. But that, to me, that's the biggest one. Is just it needs to be optimized. It's too clunky right now.
I wish I could have been a part of that. Just saying.
It was fantastic, man. It was great.
Beautiful. Think of beauty.
My biggest, in order to do it, to drop it down to 50, they would have to increase circle speed. No, not speed. They would have to decrease the time in between circles. That way, it just keeps everybody.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Pushed into everybody,
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
Well, think about it. With 50 players on a server, that's less people per place you jump, which means more loot for you. So less incursions, less contact, more looting. You should have more time to get into a circle faster. So maybe go from 5 minutes to 3 for the first one, or whatever you want to have that. Or
yeah,
there's a lot of things they could do to optimize it. I think if they were smart about it.
Austin, you have any thoughts?
Regarding
No,
that?
I mean, I believe you all definitely covered that. I've said all I need to say about it.
Okay. Next dislike that I would say, well, actually, Austin, short term. What is another dislike that you just have an issue with in the game? Just something you think of.
I mean, that's really my biggest complaint. I hate RNG sometimes, but that's just life. I mean, I don't really have any other serious complaints about any mechanics or anything. Okay, well, obviously the vaulting.
Vaulting, I was about to say.
Right.
That should have been added a long time ago.
Let's go ahead and discuss vaulting. Go ahead and just get it out of our system. It is a dislike, a major one at that, besides optimization.
There's absolutely no reason for it to not be there yet.
Strong point of contingency with the game. Mechanic that would change the way the game is played totally. The players that don't take the time to use crouch jumping, window jumping, that would not be something they would need to be worried about at all. The just quality of life is something that we talked about earlier, would go through the roof exponentially.
Art?
Absolutely. It shouldn't take much to throw in a vaulting mechanic.
No.
I think they need to throw in a vaulting mechanic, and that would negate crouch jumping, because I am a father of 2, nearing 30, and I have never crouch jumped in my entire life.
But you vaulted everything that could be vaulted.
I have vaulted everything I could vault. I don't claim to be a professional parkour master, but I can vault.
Check out Architect Amateur Parkour on YouTube, please.
I would post the link, but I'm working on it. So
Tonka trucks, no problem.
Yep.
What was I gonna say? It kind of got me off track there. Being able to press 2 keys at the same time, you shouldn't have to do that, especially in a game like this. They've already shown it off. That they can do it. They've jumped over rocks, showed it in a little clip, Blueho has already showed that they have got it in the game. I don't know how many items there are in the game to vault over, but they've had months since they've showed that clip. It just needs to happen.
Yeah. Rocks, window ledges, fences, cars. I mean, there's just a lot of things, but I mean, again, I'm not a professional encoder, but the video that I saw looked pretty well polished.
Looked good.
Get on the ball, Blueho.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else regarding vaulting before we move on?
I'm good.
Everybody good? Need
Yep.
to check. All right. Ark, what's another dislike that you have besides the first 2, or can you think any, or no?
Mine, I would have to say probably mid-game. It's just a lot of, it's just nothing. I mean, sometimes you'll walk across the team, but I don't really know the fix for that, and feel free to let me know if you think there might be one. But I feel like early game and then late game is most exciting. Mid game, and again, I get it. There's going to be some lulls in the game here and there, but I feel like there could possibly be something to kind of boost mid game. I mean,
agree.
They have the red zones, which I've only ever seen us die from that one time.
We're actually going to talk about that later on after this next topic we have. But yeah, continue on.
Yeah, I don't know if there's another maybe aspect that could put in the game to maybe increase mid-game performance, or not performance, but fun ability, if I may. I don't quite know, but to me, I mean, other than what we've already covered, server lag and vaulting. I mean, that's the only thing I can really think of. Well, okay, a big one here, a big one. Let me digress. Car drivability is garbage. I hit a pebble the other day and did a
That's
no scope yellow swag 1080. I mean, it was.
yeah. We was actually going to have that for the next podcast, but I mean, if you guys want to talk about vehicles now, motorcycles, we can.
It's a huge issue.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's a huge issue, we can go ahead and cover that in this topic.
We can table it. We can table it for next time. That's fine. But I'm just saying, I don't like it.
Okay. Anybody? So, John, thoughts?
Totally a huge issue. I was just going to go back to something that you did touch on the mid game.
Mm.
Just like early game, it's a product of, I believe, the way the game is played for each particular squad or duo,
Sure.
as well as a product of the game itself, the server that you just so happen to get thrown into. If you have half the plane jump military in school, half the plane is going to die by the time you're through the first circle, then obviously you're going to have a slow time until you make it towards the end circles. If that's something that you don't really have to worry about, then mid game is usually pretty fun as well. So it all just comes down to like the product of the environment that you're thrown into for that given game. And I think that's something that, speaking to what I talked about earlier, breaks up the predictability of the game quite a lot. So I don't have a problem with that.
Right. Well, let me throw this in there because I think after hearing you say that and thinking about what I've seen in the teaser trailers, I think the next map's going to fix that because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the desert map is a 4 kilometer by 4 kilometer.
They did change it. It is now an 8x8 map.
It is. Well, I think a 4x4 map would fix the mid game. The players are condensed. There's a lot more action. You're going to hear shots a lot closer, more frequently.
I agree.
And I think that would fix that.
I think it would also help with. I think it would help with the game being more fun. You would have more chance to practice your aim. I mean, there's a lot that could come out of a smaller map.
Sure.
Quicker games, more games. I mean, there's a lot of things that could come out of that. I agree.
Yeah, I think a smaller map would make it feel more
as far
like
as mid game,
a Battlefield or a Call of Duty esque gameplay, more fast paced.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't horrible. I totally agree. Sadly, they did shrink it, or they did enlarge it from the 8 kilometer, from the 4 kilometer to the 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe the next map will be condensed if they don't see play styles change too much.
Sure.
With this update. Mm-hmm. For now, it is unfortunately still a huge map.
Right. As far as dislikes, though, that's about it for me.
Yeah. Well, are we ready to move on next topic, or you guys want to talk about more regarding what was the last thing you said, Art, after mid game? Vehicles? Or you want to talk about vehicles now, or you want to save it for next time?
I think we could spend a lot of time on vehicles. Well, let's cover that next time.
Okay.
I don't care. It's up to you.
It could take a long time, and I don't have a lot of time since tomorrow, I start that new job. But anyway, next topic, the fog map, the fog aspect discussion, all right? This is the discussion that it just triggers me to think about it. I immediately leave the game. Okay, John?
Yeah, I just leave now. There's no point.
All right, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It was interesting and intriguing at the start, but I definitely played it once or twice, and now I do not have any interest in being in any fog game.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Rant incoming.
Vent, sir. Get it all out there.
I've been alive for a long time. Okay. And
yeah, for those who don't know, he lied when he said he was 30. He's actually 68.
Yeah, I have my discount at Golden Corral, so let's jump on that real quick. No, I've walked outside in the rain because we've all done it, and never once has it sounded like a freight train running through my ear hole. Now, on the aspect side of that, the flip side, I've never walked out in fog and said, I feel like I'm in a Walking Dead movie right now because the music is crazy. I don't know what kind of ambient noise they've thrown in there with the. I don't need that. I don't need it. It's just I'm with Austin and John. I leave game. I don't need this horrendous sound effect. And I don't know if y'all mentioned this real quick, just to backtrack on things I hate about the game. Turn the plane sound down.
Yes, that was actually a big issue we did miss
Oh, my
there.
Lord.
In-game audio, which they said that they are working on as we speak, but as of right now, we'll go ahead and chop back, to the last topic a little bit here, just a few minutes. In-game audio, just they need to fix that. I play with the game extremely loud. Like, you guys will see me streaming, and somebody shoots, I freaking jump. Like, I mean, they need to fix it,
Yeah.
But
I jumped the other day, and I think I threw my keyboard through the wall. But I mean, yeah, game sound optimization. In the last update, they turned the world into Oompa Loompa land when you're inside of a building. It's bad.
Right?
did.
It's the brightest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's awful.
Don't let us forget, the plane needs to be fixed. It needs to be much, much quieter, as well as the dune buggy, whatever that's called. The
Right,
loudest
yes.
in the world.
I instantly mute my. I don't even care if I get shot. Like, if I get shot, I'm driving.
Yeah.
I don't stop.
And it puts us at a disadvantage,
It does.
especially like if I'm in a solo game or a duo game with Jalen, like because I know he's going to mute audio. I have to leave it unmuted so one of us can hear gunshots.
We have to get our ears
all they would have to
murdered.
do, all they have to do for the dune buggy is put a 4-stroke engine in it and take the 2 out. It's
Exactly.
fixed. It's fixed.
Fit it with a muffler.
Yeah, right. Fit it with a muffler. But when I walked into a building yesterday and the colors were blinding, if I would have had a pair of the Doc's, Google prototype lenses, I would have been
Hey.
fine. But shout out to Doc there.
The 2-time.
The 2-time.
It's a good thing the solar eclipse happened so recently
Yeah,
because I'm still holding on to those
exactly.
eclipse glasses.
My retinas are burned. I mean, that's bad. I got more damage from walking into back 6 on George Pool than I did watching the eclipse without glasses. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
Jesus, man.
In-game lighting, definitely
Yeah.
issue that they just did. I'm not sure why they thought that was
Yeah, that just came
instead
out
of
of nowhere.
vaulting, they just decided to brighten up the rooms. All right.
Yeah, Yep.
It's like I just have this idea of them sitting in this control room with all of these like soundboard dials that they're just sitting and looking at, and they just turn one up out of nowhere.
Like an analog board.
Exactly.
Analog board. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, they're just bored. They're like, oh, these guys are spamming, add vault, vaulting, please, vault. And then they're just like, you know what? Let's turn the brightness up.
I think the back 6 of George Pool could be a little brighter. I think it could be a little brighter.
I am picturing
Let's
that
put
they
a
have
sun
a
in
big
there.
dial and they just slowly just crank it up to max.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I picture.
Let's put an orange filter on everything. It'll be great.
But anyway, getting back to fog before we further ramble. Fog, after I know we all leave the game, what could make it better? Do we just need to remove it? I mean, me personally, just remove it. It's
no,
neat.
I think you could increase visibility a little bit, or make it patchy fog that moves, and then get rid of the audio.
Yeah, that's
one
my
wants-
biggest thing, is just the
Take
audio.
the audio out and increase visibility, and you're good.
Yeah, maybe increase visibility to like 20 feet instead of 10. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Get rid of the audio, definitely.
And I
Maybe
feel
make it
like-
to where if you have a gun and a scope with any sort of magnification, that it can sort of lessen the effects of the fog.
Right.
So it's not as difficult to see someone from 4x scope than it is to see them 4 feet away from you.
I feel like too, when you jump out of a plane and you're about 300 meters from the ground, there's no ground.
No, there's
You can see from the plane, but once you get 300 meters away, it's like it's a sheet of white nothing.
you're navigating by
You're-
sonar.
you're
at that
taking- yeah, sonar at that point. Yeah, it's
Yep.
50-50
Waiting for it
chance
to
you're gonna
reverberate.
land on a tree. Right. Oh, I have one more thing, and this comes from watching H1Z1. Of course, it's dialed up way too high, but they need to fix landing with a parachute. Now, if you've watched Doc play H1Z1, you land at Mach 3. Like, you hit the ground and you're like already buried 6 feet deep. But this game, you come in 60 kilometers an hour, then you're like in reverse mode, like you almost go back up into the sky. That's what it feels like. I don't like it.
Also, the glitchiness of the landing with the chutes, extreme. Like,
Yeah, if there's a twig on the ground, you're not going to land anytime soon.
Right.
a lot
No.
of a lot of times I'll be landing on a porch of a building, and then my character just sits there for like 20 seconds. Just
And then he's teleported to another dimension and back.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like push, shoot, and then you end up in Rozhok when you jump in melee. I mean, it's
All right. Well, moving forward, fog, we could make it patchy. We could make the visibility a little bit more. I personally wouldn't be mad if they removed it. I mean, it's a neat idea, but anyway, red zone. What do we think they could change about the red zone? Maybe even like I think right now it's just too underpowering. Even though you might be killed by it every now and then. I think it needs to be like a gas, and the gas mask that would give it some sort of functionality. Like if you have a gas mask. I mean, cool. Right now they're just cosmetic and they kind of don't serve any purpose whatsoever. But yeah, thoughts, John? Start it off.
I agree 100% that the red zone is not effective in its current edition. It's something that most people just see as a mild inconvenience, but it doesn't stop them. Or the intent and purpose of it is to make players move, to keep players mobile. If anything, it makes them hunker down and find some cover, and then they stay in the area even longer than its intended purpose, which is to make people move. I just completely hate it. If it were changed and overhauled, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all.
Mm-hmm. To add to that, this little bit here, before you move on, sorry to interrupt, it did ruin a defining moment did it ruin a defining moment in the Gamescom tournament they had? Didn't that happen? Was it red zone or was it motorcycle?
I'm pretty sure it was motorcycle.
Okay, never mind. Going awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You got the floor, dude. Lots on.
I'm actually perfectly. I'm okay with it. Like you all was talking about, it doesn't really affect anything except for frame rate, and occasionally it has killed me before when just driving along, like once, just driving with my team.
Very rare.
Boom. It happened once, maybe twice. But I mean, I don't have any major complaints about it. I don't hardly notice it that much. I don't pay attention to it. So I'm really okay with whatever they decide to do with it.
Yeah, no, I pay no attention to it. I just run straight through it.
Yeah.
Which, to me, hurts the effectiveness of it altogether. Like, if it's not going to affect the way that I play, and I know that it doesn't affect the way that a majority of people play, what's the point in having it in the game?
See, that's where I'm coming from with gas, real quick, is that not only would it be for its intended purpose, not to just like end the game for somebody, but actually move the players to other players, get them out of camping. Gas would go inside buildings. Gas would move them out of that area. And it might be a very, it would tick over time, larger and larger amounts. You could actually die to it, like green gas or something like that. They would have to move. All right, Art.
I agree 100%. Something I've noticed, and this could be completely wrong, I feel like in a normal red zone right now, the bomb explosions are on a grid. And what I mean by grid is they're in almost like a 20 feet by 20 feet square pattern where they land certain places. I feel like it could be more random, more closer together. That would increase the effectiveness of it. I think if they increase that, if they increase the radius, if they increased the random ability of where they drop, it would make a red zone more like, okay, I don't want to go there. I have to push around, which is why I love the gas idea. It would make those gas masks on the ground more valuable instead of just, I'm going to step on that and forget it's there, But if you made a red zone or a green zone, a gas zone, more effective to be like, okay, this can really harm me because we've been playing this game for several hours and I've only seen us die one time to a red zone. To me, it's more of an inconvenience right now than it is game changing. I feel like if they increased it would make it's a nuisance now. But I like what you said. It would make you think twice about, okay, crap, it's in my line of sight. If I go around, I know those guys to the left. I have to go there now. It's going to make you engage more. That's my thoughts. I think they could add a gas effect and increase the range on the bombs, and it would make it better.
Yeah. Definitely, like remove gas masks from being just cosmetic. You can't buy them with BP. Right. You have to find them.
And I think, and this is cosmetic for me, but I think if you're in a red zone, and there's bombs dropping, there should be craters.
Hmm.
And that's going to affect if you're driving through it. You're going to have to dodge what's already exploded, plus worrying about being hit by shrapnel or whatever.
Issue with that is going to be
Optimization.
It would definitely take especially with the game in its current optimization state. You're talking about a major toe on the
That would be
well, and you're looking at running on a different engine altogether. I mean, maybe Frostbite could handle that, but their current engine, there's no way.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
I was going
But
to
it
say.
would be it would be very neat.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're running through a bombing zone, the ground's going to be disturbed. And before they did that, they'd have to optimize the vehicle driving, because running through a divot or a crater is way more damaging than a pebble.
Yep. I was going to add, like, if it's gas, they have the choice of either do I have enough meds to not only last through this, but as well as last after I get out of it to heal if I get in a firefight, or do I just book it now, or can I stay here in camp? So it would, more than likely, they would want to get out and keep their valuable stems and meds and all that good stuff. I think it'd be a phenomenal change for the game.
Exactly. It would totally change playstyle, resource management, which not a lot of people pay enough attention to now, would be something that would be imperative to the game. I totally agree.
Any last words you want to say about the red zone? If what changes they could do to it, anything like that?
My final words on it is just going to be that making it an actual factor into the way the game flow is and what you're needing to do, and how to where it's not just we just don't pay any attention to it at all right now, would be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's my final say on that subject.
All right.
Okay.
It's silly, man.
Moving on. The next topic. Oh, we're on the last two topic, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. All right. In the chat room, whoever's watching. I know I got to follow. Sorry. First person versus third person.
I think that's preference.
It is preference, but your preference is wrong if you prefer third person.
What's your opinion? Like, why should people play first person over third person? What's better about it? How do you play differently? Like, let's go ahead and get it out there so we can help people that haven't tried first person. They say they won't understand why we prefer it over third person. Go ahead and take it off, John, or whoever. Awesome.
I'll take this one.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that the only pro I think to third person, and the only attraction I think there is to it, is if that's all you've known. Like me personally, I had a slightly hard time converting to first person just because all I know in PUBG was third person. Other than that, I don't see any other reason somebody would rather play third person, just because in first person it adds a lot more realism to the game, obviously, and you're having to be a lot more careful. You can't sit behind a fence, third person, everything. That's just in general. You can't third person in any form or fashion, peeking around corners, over things, and the realism of it is what I think makes it a lot better.
Well,
Right, I agree.
let me get this in real quick. I think a lot of players that don't switch, that already have the game, are people that got the game at the beginning like we did. Like, I did have kind of a hard time, but after I played like 5 or so rounds of it, I was used. I was hooked to it. I was used to it.
Same here. Yeah.
People that now that buy the game, I feel like there's less that go straight into third person. I feel like.
Right.
And the people that just now buy the game and first person's been released now for, for a while, that's who we're more talking to. I know there's those hardcore. Grandpa Gaming's one of them. I'm going to call him out. He will not. And that's just fact. And he's played the game since it was out. So let's go ahead and Ark. What would you have to say?
I think it's preference. I played Star Wars Battlefront for a long time, and there you could switch first to third. I always played first. I tried third. I didn't like it. To me, and this is, I grew up playing all the Halo franchise games. I played Battlefields, Call of Duties, and to me, that's just what I'm used to. I'm used to first person. To me, I think there's a lot of sort of looking for exploits if you play third person. Touching on what Austin mentioned, peeking corners. That's not realistic to me.
No, dude.
And you can, people that have mastered that are really good at third person. But to me, third person. First person is more of who's the better shot, who's the better, more skilled player, who's sneakier, who understands the lay of the map, who understands movements, things like that. Third person to me is just
it's not camera versus camera. It's actual skill versus skill.
Exactly. That's what I like about it, and I just don't like third person.
John?
Totally agree. When I first started the game, it was maybe a week or two before first person was introduced. Third person was all that we had to play, and I absolutely hated it because just like Ark, all that I ever played were first person shooters. So to be constantly cheesed around a corner or somebody at the top of a stairwell just holding a camera angle around and dying over and over again to that infuriated me. So now that first person is introduced, that's what I was talking about earlier, your opinion is wrong if you like third person more than
I mean, there's a whole genre called first person shooter.
Exactly.
I mean,
it provides you so much more freedom and opportunity to go where you want and to do what you want, just because if you can't see them, they can't see you.
I was about to say that if you can't see them, they can't see you.
Exactly. The engagement distances that you find yourself in the majority of the time are a lot, I feel, closer than third person matches, because somebody can literally see you coming from around a tree across a field in third person, but if they're behind that tree in first person, you never know you're going to be there.
Right.
It's the purest way to play the game.
Yeah.
I actually, real quick, was watching. I'm gonna bring it back up again. Grandpa Gaming, man. I was watching him. He was just running through, getting to the circle. A guy was camping behind a tree, third person. He dies to him. He said it was just luck. I said in his chat, I was like, in first person, that wouldn't have happened because he wouldn't have been able to do that if Grandpa couldn't see him, because he was alting, looking everywhere. I mean, if he couldn't see him, that guy couldn't see him as well, unless he's just, prone behind a tree and he's already seen him. It's camera versus camera. Who has the better camera skills? Like, that's all it is.
Right. Exactly.
Anybody else have any words?
Nope.
Play first person, people. It's better.
The last topic of the night. Okay. Esports ready. Okay.
Come on.
I mean,
Why?
go ahead.
We're done. All right, moving on.
Good night,
What?
everybody. Thank you for coming.
Go.
Good podcast.
Go ahead and we'll start off with who wants to start off. Just, I mean, why do you think they shouldn't have esports right now? Go on.
I guess
Start off with a comment or a question. Did you watch the first one?
No, it was played wrong. It was in third person.
No, that's right. Yeah.
I did watch a little of it. I watched the YouTube. I didn't watch it live.
I watched some of the highlights, but
Yeah.
I just can't watch a third person game. I was falling asleep and then I quit watching it.
Yeah. Not only is the game not released real quick, fully released, optimization isn't even there. Of course, they're on LAN. They don't have vaulting. I mean, there's so many things that aren't in the game that should be in the game. Like esports ready. Go ahead, Austin.
I think the game has incredible esports potential. I think one day it will make a very entertaining a very entertaining game to watch at a professional level. But it's silly that they thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and do that when there's so many things. We barely stuck our toes in the problems with this game. Just the functionality problems and optimization and just the overall even balancing. And for it to be competed with at a professional level, it needs to be completed and set in stone. And especially making a game where they're still making such major changes very frequently, that's just not very professional game like.
It still feels like a beta game.
It
Yeah,
does.
Yep.
but one day it will. I think it would make a very incredible esports game, just because it would be. I think it would be very entertaining to watch at professional level, and there's definitely going to be a very strong competitive side to it.
Oh,
I
But
agree.
it's not
I
ready.
think the test server we played the other day, 50-person server on a 4x4 map, that could be feasible.
Whew. Yeah. That's also
Now you're interesting me.
yeah.
Yes. Throw that in first person, and
I would watch that. Exactly, I would watch that. I would participate in that.
By the way, we have plenty of time. This is the last topic. If we want to if something pops up in your brain, you want to talk about it, I mean, doors wide open. We have plenty of time.
You know what? I'm tired of talking to you.
All right.
Just kidding.
I've talked so much about this game. I just want to play it now.
I want to go talk to my mom. I'll be right back. Speaking seriously, though, for a moment, on the professional esports ready thing, none of us obviously are professional players. We never will be. Just casual players.
Health.
Honestly, I know that these guys all carry me through my games, but again, just speaking seriously on it, you can tell the difference between a game that is and isn't ready. Playing something like Overwatch, which is a properly refined and balanced game, and that was actually fully completed when it was released, and there are constant changes and updates to the PTR weekly and bi-weekly to keep the game balanced and interesting and up to date. That is certainly a game that I can get behind. But a game like this, at this stage, at this time, no, I don't think
I mean,
that the esports scene for this game should be as big as it is, or that it should even be an esports game at this point.
you take Overwatch, League of Legends. I mean, it's huge at this point. You know, I mean, filling up a whole arena. Rocket League. I mean, that game's going to be in the Olympics just simply because it doesn't have any violence. If it has any violence in it, the games they won't use it. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. These big esports, CS:GO, huge, had a TV, like actual television, you know, cable, DirecTV, all that, like huge. And you just throw this game out there, barely completed, throw two tournaments this far.
It was a failed attempt to be in the norm. I mean, esports is you can major that in college now. Eastern Kentucky University actually offers that as their classes.
Yep.
You can major in that. So, I apologize for my dog. I don't know what's going on. Mother of Teresa. But anyways, you know, like I said, to me it was a failed attempt, and I get it. Yeah, this game has huge potential, but not right now.
Exactly.
Nowhere close.
Not right now.
Nowhere close.
And for those of you that were smart enough to pick up on that geographical location tag there, we are from Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, I just assumed my accent nailed that. So.
Yeah.
You don't have a Kentucky accent?
It depends on the day.
Let's see.
Depends on the day.
Since we have the time, do you want to talk about vehicles?
Talk about what you could have.
Vehicles? I mean, we can.
I do. You all start. I gotta go see if my dog is went certifiably insane or not. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, I found the stash of crack cocaine in his closet.
So I'll go ahead and mark off. We're going to talk about vehicles. Last but not least, I have time to cover this and then maybe play a game or two of Pose with you guys before bed. Who wants to start?
You all go ahead, because I don't necessarily have a whole lot to say about it.
Okay.
To be honest.
Seriously? Vehicles are trash
Okay, well,
right now.
Motorcycles.
Garbage.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't think it should be. If they're going to flip, and flip so easily as they do, it shouldn't take you down. I understand we've been talking about realism and stuff. I understand, for it to be real, it's going to hurt going, what is it? They're usually going at 100+ kilometers an hour, kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And you flip. it should do some damage, but like especially in a duo game, you're going hard, you're in the top 10, you're driving up to the next circle real quick, you flip your motorcycle, die. It's
Definitely.
game over.
Yeah.
It's disheartening.
I think I don't know if it's been patched yet. I do know they said that they were going to lower the damage that's taken from motorcycles, but I've honestly, since that patch that they supposedly put that in the game, I still have the same problem out of the motorcycle. I still go down.
Yeah.
I don't know if obviously they haven't since that's been happening, but go ahead.
I honestly don't see how they would fix that. 9 times out of 10, it's not the damage taken from the motorcycle accident; it's the damage taken from falling because you're thrown from the motorcycle. I don't see how they would fix that.
Accurate.
Sure, that is accurate. Yes, that if you get flung 50 feet from your motorcycle, that you're probably going to die.
I'd love to see segways in the game. I think that'd be a huge addition.
Right, with the off-road tires.
Right, exactly. AT tires.
And a battery charge instead of a gas tank.
Yep. Go
Yeah,
green.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You got to save the environment, man. Russia's not going to save itself.
Yep.
But just vehicles in general, they could all use a pretty significant overhaul. Something like vehicle collisions, which either one of two things typically happen. The vehicles are fused together for all eternity by some sort of ionic bond, the strength of which has never been seen in the known universe, or they are just cataclysmically separated with the force of 1,000 like Mjolnir hammers from Thor, and you're thrown into the atmosphere. It's stupid.
Right. I think, to me, the best feeling vehicle would be the buggy, then followed by the US. I think they put in the Drift Edition of the Dacias, the 1987 model Drift Edition Dacia.
Yeah, with the Tokyo package.
Yeah, exactly. Tokyo package, right. Yeah, slick tires, all that. If they put a 50-pound weight on the 3-wheeler motorcycle on the buggy side, that would help a little bit.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Have you guys seen the new vehicle that they're supposed to be implementing?
I have
Isn't it like a 1970s like?
Go ahead and shoot a link, and I'll actually pull it up on stream so they can see as well.
It's a hippie van.
All right, give me a second. Yeah, it is. It's like the VW hippie van. I'll have to do some research. I'll post it.
I did actually see that, but I don't have the link.
I'd love to see.
Just keep talking.
I'd love to see. I think you could do, especially with the current map, location-based vehicles. Like, first of all, I think the boats are great. I think the boats are they're doing fine. But I would like to see like an ATC at military base. Make it slow so you can't speed demon it across the map. But an armored vehicle that doesn't have any weapon attachments, it's just an armored vehicle. Because right now it's too easy to kill people through a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
You take chances with that, but I think location bases. Like, okay, I see you just put up the 70s van. Throw that in Yasnaya. Throw that in Razak or whatever. Maybe a drivable school bus at school.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Rig that thing up with.
Exactly.
Give me a Panzer tank at military.
Throw in, I'm sure player bodies are hitboxes on cars are different, but I mean, you could throw in a different skin for a Dacia. Do something besides a Dacia.
Yeah.
Have different types of civilian vehicles, and make it location based.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, to me, that's quality of life. And it's not really necessary, but what is necessary is vehicle optimization.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Helicopters, come on.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
Just throwing a scout helicopter at Millie you can't shoot it.
I don't know. I mean, you just kind of stay and get like 5 gas cans, auto win game. I don't know about that. Stay in the air.
Just table that one with my segways.
Well,
put that in the same folder.
Anything else we need to talk about? Vehicles? I mean, speaking of which, one thing about vehicles, why does it take 2 to 3 shots to pop a tire? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, that's the real thing is obviously
realistic?
the real thing is actually one bullet, obviously, but if you're able to, just as far as the, you know, playing the game, if you're able to pop somebody's tire with just one shot, that seems powered in the sense of just the video game. It would make things very, very difficult. It's not realistic to take 2 or 3 shots, but it's not very hard to hit somebody's tire once and then just ruin, they're screwed.
It's actually confirmed 3. Yeah, it's 3. Yeah. I get that.
But it's definitely not realistic. But I don't think it should be one bullet take a tire out.
Okay. While in water,
That's gotta be fixed.
why can't we? I understand not bandaging because that's obviously retarded, but like putting a EpiPen in you or a shot in you, like taking pills in the water, drinking energy drink in the water, like on top of it, like floating.
Right. As long as you're not under, you should be able to access certain items of your inventory.
I think you should bandage underwater. Just make paper mache. It's solid, it's durable, malleable.
Then it solidifies into a cast.
Exactly. And then you
get out and it dries.
And it's more effective than just a bandage.
I mean, that change actually triggered me, and I'm still triggered to this day. That was a long time ago.
Just for those that my blue hole
for those newbies out there, you actually could first aid and bandages in the water. Under the bridge in Military Island, you know what I'm saying?
See, I never got to experience that.
Yeah, I was pissed.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and, if we don't have anything else to say, while I'm saying this, if you come up with anything, let me know. We still have just about 5-10 minutes more time. Future forecast for the next episode, if you're interested. Obviously, we're going to go over future updates or things we would like to see. If I find anything interesting, we'll talk it over if we want to talk about it on the show. Current issues, if they make changes to the game, we might talk about that. If it's still around, in-game optimization, we might could touch it a little bit. Next time, though, a little forecast, and next time I'll have this a lot more professional. I just kind of threw it together here. BP coins, play styles, ranking systems, yada, yada, yada. We already covered vehicles. New player learning curve. Don't say anything yet. Hold your thoughts next time, boys. Let's see. Ghillie suit. Game balancing, such as weapons, armor, all that good stuff. That's some stuff we have right now. We'll probably have more by that time. Anything else you guys want to say before we start to wrap up? Have you thought of anything else you want to talk about real quick?
I voiced my opinion today, I believe. I think
I've said my piece.
You're out of breath.
Getting a lot up our chest. It feels refreshing.
It does. Hopefully, Blue Hole watches this.
Chat, by the way.
Oh, you did? I don't have chat pulled up, so I can't.
Oh, I don't know how that happened.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, John.
All right. So nothing else? Are you ready to wrap up? I mean, nothing else. All right, here we go. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the video. I'm also streaming this live are we going to do it every Sunday? Or you guys want to do it on Saturday? What are you guys' plans? Because I need to set up a schedule for the show if we're actually going to do it. And it can change at any time as well.
Sure. What day's best for you, Ark? You're probably the most responsible and the busiest of the lot.
I mean, unless I'm out of town playing drums, any evening's fine with me. I typically can't start till 9:30.
Okay. So the rest of us, Saturday nights, 8:30 start time, 8:45. We can just start it and people hop in. I mean, if you're not here, you pop in at 9:30. That's fine. We can just go over just like we did this time.
Sure.
Is that good with everybody? Saturdays, 8:30 p.m. EST for all those viewers for the live.
Available.
That's it. Depends on my schedule. As of right now, it will be weekly. I will let you know more tomorrow since my new job starts tomorrow, what my schedule is going to be like. But as of right now, it is going to be weekly. I try to be weekly.
8:30 Saturday works for me.
Okay. Austin, any objectives or any objections?
Nope.
Okay. 8:30 p.m. EST every Saturday. As of right now, it may go bi-weekly. We'll see. how much we can squeeze out of the game. There's only so much we can do before the patch. I don't know who followed, whoever that was. Thank you for the follow during this crazy stream. By the way, I'm looking for any sort of overlay designer. If any of y'all want to do that, that's in Discord, you can. Any sort of overlay to where I can have like gameplay playing as well as showing images of what we're talking about, as well as my webcam. I'm ALinks. You can follow me on Twitter, ALinksGG. You can follow my YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. You guys want to give them an outro for yourself, like who you are, you know?
Thanks for coming.
Once again, this is your boy Two to Tango, aka John. Hit me up on the Instagram. Just kidding, I don't have that. I'm not hip enough. But thank you guys for listening, checking it out. We'll be back next week. Be sure to tune in.
Yeah. This is Architect. That's me. I enjoy lots of things, this being one of them. So tune in. It's gonna be a lot of fun. This is the first one I had a blast. So
I
see
did
y'all
too.
Saturday.
That's pretty good. All right, we are out. Be sure to like and subscribe the video if you're watching this on VOD. Next time you can catch us live or you can watch the video. It's all good.